If I write about a fucking bunch of money and guns and shit, that does not feel legitimate or true like to my life anymore, you know? So like what feels true to my life now is writing about other stuff. And so that's like why you're getting a lot more Bitcoin songs now. You're getting like, I don't want to say like anti-government, but you're getting like big freedom vibes.
Hey everybody, this is the High Hash Rate Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Dan.
And this podcast is just two plebs getting high and talking about Bitcoin, life, and the absurdity of the fiat world. Our guests don't necessarily get high with us, and you don't have to either.
But it helps.
Okay, so here we are. We're actually recording now. So now is the time. All right, who's on today? Dan, I'm asking you, who's on today?
We got Captain Youth, who is the only thing I know about him is that he's a rapper. He's a hip hop artist. What more can you tell us about what you do, or what's relevant to what we're talking about today, I guess?
Yeah, I make music, independent artist. I'm a freedom enthusiast, Bitcoin enthusiast. I really like to play basketball.
Nice.
That is something also kind of relevant. And yeah, man. Yeah.
Is making music, is that like your day job, or is that like a hobby, or is it somewhere in between?
Definitely it's getting to somewhere in between. It's still definitely like more of a hobby, I would say. My day job, I own a small painting company. So
okay.
I just, I really try to go for
a small
like
painting company.
Yeah, we paint houses, inside and outside of houses, and stain decks. Do other stuff like that, general handyman work around the house.
I've done a lot of that around my house, and I tell you what, the deck part is the worst, because like you gotta sand, power wash it, sand it. It's just a lot of redundant work. Painting the inside of a house is like redundant, and it gets kind of boring.
How long
it's easy?
How long have you been in that line of work, by the way?
Oh, dude, I got into it like maybe 10 years ago. I've been on my own for like 8 years probably. So
how many houses have you done where you just like take the brick and you just paint it white and put all the black around the windows? That seems to be like what I see everywhere now.
Dude, the exteriors, yeah, we do that. We've done those farm style looks. People want, Pinterest board stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So how long have you been making music?
I've always like written. I've always loved music, but in high school, I probably started writing music in high school, and then just have like steady, I've written music since then. I didn't really put a lot of music out until probably 2017 was when I started like recording more seriously, releasing more music.
SoundCloud?
Yeah, there's some on SoundCloud, but most of the music gets released via like Spotify and Apple Music. SoundCloud only lets you put up like so much music, I think, after a while. So
sure.
Yeah.
And you do produce it all too?
No, I have a couple different people that help me produce music, but there's a couple dudes in Grand Rapids, and then there's a guy in Guadalajara, Mexico. He's my favorite to work with, Diego. He's the dude who made the beat for the Bitcoin song. He's like a super genius producer, like can get the absolute best out of you. And it's just really great to work with. So whenever I can, I like to work with him. I'll book like week-long block sessions at a studio and just go down there and try to record, 15 songs in a week,
You said,
where'd you say he was located?
Guadalajara, Mexico.
Oh, so you go down to Mexico every once in a while and just record music?
Straight up, yeah. And my wife is my wife is from Mexico, and her family lives in Guadalajara. So she visits family, and then I'll go just rep out a bunch of 10-hour days at the studio.
That's a great way to get your wife to support your like rap career, just like
Yeah.
we're going down to Mexico. That's where your family's at. See your producer. You said Grand Rapids. Do you live in Michigan?
Yeah, I live in Michigan. Yep.
Where at? Or like what
Grand
county?
Rapids area.
Okay, I grew up Jackson, Ann Arbor area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just there actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. For holiday stuff?
Yeah, I was supposed to go for like 4 or 5 days, bunch of flight cancellation stuff. So I was really only there for like 36 hours.
Oh, we got that huge blizzard rolling through.
Yeah, it sucked. But I was just there. I know some people in Grand Rapids, but honestly, I can't. It's been so long. Like people I like knew when I was growing up in town, but honestly,
sure.
they were big into making music. I wish I could remember them a little bit better. They might not be your producers, but they might know them.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids isn't that big.
No, it's not. And the producers here, like, there's one dude, Devin. He works with, like most all the artists, all the rappers at least, and there's only a couple other ones that are really working with like a lot of people.
What do you like? Do you do anything with like making your own beats or like at least trying to do some stuff like that?
Not really, dude.
It's tough.
I really just write lyrics, and do the recording and the performing. Me and Diego sit down. We've had a few days where like sessions where we just sit down and try to come up with scratch stuff,
Mhm.
like completely from scratch. But he's really working the keys. I'm just giving input like via I like that sound or I don't like that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What about
but yeah.
the visual aspect?
Okay, so for some of the like most of the lyric videos and like more, I don't want to say they're just the more like homemade tape style like videos that we have, my wife makes, and then the other ones we just had various people film. The guy who did the Bitcoin video, his name's Kevin. I actually won that music video in like a music video giveaway on Facebook, honestly.
That's
Shout out Kevin for making that happen.
Wait, you
that's
won the music video? Like you?
Yeah, like if you posted a song and then it was like whoever got the most amount of likes and comments on their shit won the
Ah,
video, and it was like neck and neck until the last minute, and then I won. Yeah,
yo, that
it
sounds
was pretty.
exciting as fuck.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice to get the video made. It's obvious, that's my most viewed video by far, so it was really nice to have it like professionally done, and yeah.
dude, that's wild. Like you can find producers in other countries, you can win music video contests. Like if you're scrappy, like you can launch your career on the
Yeah,
cheap, you know?
yeah, you can. Yeah, it's really like most of the life I feel like is about your network of people that you can like
Oh,
get to
totally.
know, and um yeah, you don't have to be like best friends with everybody, but just if you can maintain like some type of relationship with people, that goes like a really long way in my experience.
Yeah, I've said it before, but like the idea about a year ago in April, I guess, was when we launched this podcast, and Mike was like pushing me so hard on doing it. And I just thought, like, there is no, like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? Like, who's going to listen to us? Why should anybody care? And then I realized, like, a couple of, I don't know, episodes into it, I'm like, dude, I'm just getting a chance to meet, sort of
Yep.
meet and talk to and get to know all these interesting people from all over the world. And who knows where, that relationship could go. Like, Mike's making a music video right now, and I think he said that you're, featured in it.
I wrote a verse for
Yeah,
some for
yeah,
Mike.
right.
Yeah.
Like just little stuff
You
like
wrote a
that.
very good verse for it.
Yeah, I
You
listened
wrote a
to it. It's
very good,
great. It's
yeah.
great.
I kind of want to actually preview it right now. I know we've all heard it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like
Preview it. Just play some of the audio. Don't play the video yet. The video's coming out, but play the verse. Don't do it like
how to.
pull it. Just get it ready and play the verse.
No, no, no. I don't want to do that without express permission of.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't want
sure.
to.
Yeah, I don't mean to like say do it without his permission, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean you can play it. I just want to emphasize it's like a recording on my phone. It's not anything, you
then I
know.
will not play it. No. I won't
Okay.
play it. I'll keep it. I'll keep it for later. No, I don't like my verse on that either. But
Oh,
I
you got
was
a verse
thinking,
too,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he's the
bro?
first
I want a
verse. I
verse.
come
I
in
want a
right
verse.
after him.
you want a verse as well?
Dude, I don't know how long what the time window is for me to get it in, but dude, I'll do a what do they call it when you just like write a verse and send it in,
You know what, Dan? If you write a verse, you can have a fucking verse on
Hell
that
yeah,
fucking
dude.
song.
Hell yeah. If not, we'll just do like the, like Limp Bizkit Rollin' where they had like the air raid assault vehicle remix. Like we can make a remix and throw me on there.
You know what I do need is that Katie, the one who says "fuck that currency," uh, I need her to punch a little bit more, and I don't know how to make it
That's been
happen.
stuck in my head.
I
Fuck
don't think
that currency.
I
Yeah.
don't think you need I don't think you need to punch it anymore, dude. I think it's good. It's
Okay.
natural. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So what or who who were like some of your inspirations, or are your inspirations for the music that,
Uh,
just doing this at all?
for doing this at all? Oh
Yeah,
my
like,
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
there's a lot of questions I want to ask. I mean, you have a lot to unpack in all the things you've talked about so far.
My my musical inspirations definitely like in high school were Eminem and Lil Wayne. And
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
I would say more recently my musical inspirations are Chance the Rapper, Kendrick Lamar, Drake.
Hmm. Hmm.
Those are probably the main ones. Sometimes Roddy Rich. I've been trying to play around a little bit more with like singing. Um, definitely
sure,
don't like Roddy Rich for his lyrics really, but more of his like flows and cadences are
yeah.
pretty insane. Very catchy. Yeah, those are
When you
probably like
rap, do you feel like you're trying to rap like a rapper, or do you feel like you're just trying to use your own voice?
That's a good question.
oh like when I'm like vocal inflections.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you trying to like
Or
emulate?
construction of verse, even. It comes down to that. It goes
Um,
construction of, because you can segment, like the way that you segment your verse is definitely different from the way that I segment my verse. You have a certain flow, I have a certain flow. It's just like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the voice of the
Um,
person.
yeah, so I would say like when it comes to constructing the verse, I definitely like try to freestyle over to get like a really catchy or like a cadence that I like with the syllables, and then I'll write in the words and sometimes revise them a couple times if I don't really like the words or if the lyrics are not as strong as they could be. And then that kind of like constructs the verse, but then like your vocal inflection, like I'm not trying to be anyone in particular when I write music or when I record it. But I will say that like purposely changing your voice is not something that you should be afraid of at all. Like you
Mm-hmm.
should lean into, I think that leaning into it, even if you listen to like, if you listen to Tom Petty's like greatest hits album, uh, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers,
Hmm.
like he changes. He sounds like a different person, dude. On like four, he has four different tracks, probably five different tracks where you wouldn't even know it's the same guy. And so don't be afraid to like, you know, play with the tones of your voice for certain. I think that that only helps like give you more diversity.
Yeah, I think that one of my favorite bands, even though it's not really my favorite type of music to just like listen to, but to like go see live, is Ween. And I tell you, dude, like if you listen to Ween, and if you know who that is, just look them up later. But like they have like a country album, they have like a rock album. They sound like,
Yeah,
you listen to two different albums and you're like, this is not the same band. And it's like they were released within 2 years and they're just like tons of range. And I think you can like bring that down to like just a the voice, there's the style, and I think that that's, if you have that ability to be uh, viable, commercially viable, or whatever, just talented to switch it up like that, that's pretty impressive. But one of the things I was gonna say when I asked you about your influences, growing up in Michigan, right? Like, of course, Eminem's gonna be one of them, and I think that, this isn't saying anything new, but like Eminem changed the game for white guys who wanted to rap. But even after Eminem
That
got
is
big,
true. That is
right?
true.
Like white rappers sounded so shitty because they
Hmm.
were all trying to sound like gangster rappers. And like it
Hmm.
just sounded corny coming out of a white guy's voice. And then,
Hmm.
auto tune kind of helped it because it kind of made people think differently about how they could sound in their music. But then, auto tune kind of got old. But like after that point, you had like Mac Miller, even Little Dicky, and like some other dudes who
yeah,
they sounded different, and it like that really changed everything for white guys. It just didn't sound so weird and corny when they were trying to rap, and now it's like, there's talented ones, G Easy, there's a bunch of them.
yeah, yeah. There's more and more coming up every day. Young Gravy.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think about like some of the newer, when I said like SoundCloud rappers, guys like Lil Peep and Triple X, they're not around anymore, but
Yeah.
uh they
Rip
kind of
Lil
had
Peep.
that rock influence. A lot of
I
real
like
young
Lil
rappers have
Peep.
the rock influence.
Yeah. I personally don't. So I'm a big believer like music can affect moods.
Hmm.
And I like, well, have definitely gone through like depression phases in my life, and during those times, I love Lil Peep, but I can't
Hmm.
put on
Hmm.
Lil Peep like
For
I try
sure.
not to listen to him much like even now, just because like that will just put me in a mood that I don't want to be in, you know. It's sad boy music. And that's fine. Like I like Juice World and I like Lil Peep and you know, definitely some other people too that the music isn't like the most positive to listen to, but
Sure.
it's good music. And Lil Peep was fucking changing the game for real.
He really was, dude. Him dying so young is it kind of sucked because I kind of got out of being a hip hop fan for a couple of years. And then I like switched. I did like what you said earlier about changing your mood. I literally started switching up my music and my Spotify playlist because I was like in a depressive mood. And I was like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I can affect what goes into my brain, right? Like, so I just started switching it up, listening to more positive stuff. Some of it was just like, corny pop music, but it was like, it worked. It literally worked. But then kind of got past that and found Lil Peep. And I was like, started listening. I'm like, dude, this guy, he's young, he's kind of ridiculous, but I really like his flow. Like, I really like his sound. And then unfortunately, he passed like 2 months later. So if I find a
He
rapper,
was
it's not necessarily a good thing.
yeah, he was unique too. Like he wasn't just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. He was very unique. That's something that is tough to be these days.
It's just to be that young and to have that much, I hate to say this, but like there is some sort of like wisdom or like age old, like in like a younger depressed person, the kind of stuff that they sing about, the kind of stuff that they rap about or just talk about. It's like, I can't believe that's coming out of a 19-year-old's
Yeah,
mouth. I mean, most of his
like
stuff is
stuff
like,
that's universally relatable.
right. Like if you listen to it on the surface or you read the lyrics, it kind of just sounds like partying and stuff like that. But if you listen to it and get into it, you can tell like that's just kind of there's more to it than what he's actually saying, right?
Hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. I wouldn't take you as
How
a little Peep fan by looking at you. That's fucking sick, man.
Yeah, I'm 35, but I like Lil Peep. I watched his documentary on Netflix. I liked XXX. He wasn't a great person, but I liked his stuff too.
Yeah, he had some bangers for sure. He was unique with that distortion sound. Everybody was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?" At first, nobody even
Hmm.
knew what to think. But then it's like, "Oh, this is fire!" Actually,
He was
yeah,
really dark too.
yeah, yeah.
how inspirational was the movie 8 Mile to you?
I don't want to say like it's super inspirational. It's definitely like a goated movie. Like I've
Yeah.
definitely, at one point in time knew all the lyrics to all the battles at the end of it and stuff. Like I really like that movie. Um,
I got my Detroit tattoo
it's
right there.
yeah. Oh shit. Okay. Oh yeah.
It's very
I don't.
inspirational for you, Dan, huh?
The movie a little bit, just like putting Detroit on the map and like that was the city
It's an
right by.
underdog
Yeah, right.
story too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little inspirational. I'll give it that. It's fucking fun.
I mean, you definitely get goosebumps, right? When he like starts to find
Well,
his
the
rhythm,
reason why I ask is your proximity to that to 8 Mile is pretty close, right? You're a white dude.
Yeah.
You're in Michigan. You're a rapper. Or did you become a rapper after that movie? Do you think, or
No.
after or before?
I was like, okay, so what got me onto Eminem honestly was my mom bought my dad an Eminem CD for Christmas one year when I was like maybe second grade. And we would
Okay.
listen to like one or two songs on the way to school. There was only like those two songs that were like clean enough, that we could listen
Yes.
to. And yeah, like started memorizing lyrics like from that age. And that never
In
like
second grade.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
for real. And that never like left me like learning it and any songs we used to listen to back then. My dad played in like a couple bands. He's a bass guitar player.
Okay.
And yeah, just getting listening to a lot of music in the car, man.
Yeah, listen, I've talked about it on here before, but I worked at a McDonald's when I was in high school. And I mean, there was like, I can remember vividly like these summer days when I'm like working a day shift because I wasn't in school. And like everybody I worked with was on parole from this like huge prison that was like right down the street. So it was like, I'm just like this sheltered, nerdy dude working with all these like convicted felons and we're just blasting like the Slim Shady LP like on the CD player, like on repeat over and over. Like I
He
We're just
took
rapping it.
over the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Everybody was on that shit.
Dirty Dozen got big. Detroit started getting big. Big Sean came
Yeah.
out of it. Who's big now in Detroit? I mean, I really like Royce the 5'9" as well in like Slaughterhouse. But who's the big Detroit rapper now? Is it T Grizzly?
I don't know if he's put out anything super recent.
That's
I
true.
don't know if I don't remember if BDF to Pac-Man's from uh Detroit or not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know there's a there's a white dude, Babytron, who's like blowing up
Babe.
out of Detroit. Um yeah, but I'm not like super sure. I don't pay like a ton of attention to, you know,
Yeah, right.
that type of shit.
The
Who's
locals. Yeah,
coming up and who's not. Yeah.
the local
In Grand
scene's not as
Rapids, I know
important
it a
anymore.
little bit better, but
Did you ever get into uh ICP? Were you ever like, did you go through a juggalo phase or anything?
nah.
All right,
I had
good,
some
good.
friends that were though. I had some friends that definitely
Oh,
were,
oh yeah, I
but no,
remember.
that was never me.
Well, that's good.
Looking
That's
back now,
that's
yeah, that
cringe.
is a good thing. That shit is kind of cringe, low key.
Um,
That was a wild. I don't know if they're still doing that. I'm sure they are. Uh,
They're so big
but
now. I mean, like to like not big is like super popular, but everybody knows who they are. You know, they were on
hell yeah,
they're in
and they were
movies and
beefing with
yeah.
Eminem for a little bit.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
you
Yeah.
said that the year that you started releasing music, it was the same year that you got into Bitcoin, isn't that right?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I guess my first use of Bitcoin ever was 2016,
All
but
right, talk about that. Like, how'd you find it and use it? And
oh, dude, it was all of my friend was really the mastermind behind it, but we just wanted to purchase some stuff on the internet and we needed to use Bitcoin for it. And yeah, just he was explaining it to me a little bit, and I didn't see it like as an investment or even like fully understand like the limited supply factor or anything like that. Like we just understood it as like, digital money that you could use through the internet.
it
And
worked.
uh
It
and it
just worked.
worked. Yeah. Um Dude, I can't even remember the name of the Paxful was the name of the exchange that we
Oh
bought
yeah.
it off of. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we
Nice.
used Paxful back then, and then yeah, I didn't understand like public key, private key, like that type of stuff. I didn't understand any of that back then. I didn't learn that stuff until probably like the end of 2017 or middle of 2017, maybe like, because my first buys in 2017 were on Coinbase. And so like I just bought it for an investment, I didn't understand like the freedom technology behind it or any of the values really until much later in the year.
What was that process like where you went from, all right, you got exposed to it in 2016, you used it, bought it. So you knew about it at that point, you knew how to use it, where to buy it. And then you decided to buy it as an investment. And like, how did that, from that point on, how did you start to like realize what it was, much more than just a digital money, right? Like it's like much more to it.
Yeah. Um I gained the knowledge through podcasts and Twitter. That made me start a Twitter account. I didn't have Twitter previously. Um, I went totally like I was exploring all the crypto assets, um, everything and just trying to soak up as much like knowledge as I could. You start out thinking that you learn a little bit and think you know a lot, and then you learn a little bit more and realize like you don't know anything, that type of vibe. Um, and that was just a continual process. And it still is a learning process, but
For sure.
yeah, I
Uh
don't know if that answers your question, dude.
no, yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Like
threw up the J a couple times. I'm trying to get
But
up there with you guys.
so as you're starting to record music around this time that you're getting into this stuff, does the music sort of reflect uh economics in any way? Or
yeah,
I've
what
heard
is
one of
Oh,
this?
your
dude,
previous
it was
songs.
it was very it was yeah, those albums were wild. Um I was living like a life that was pretty, I don't want to say like super short time preference, but like a lot of it was like, short time preference shit. Um, and so I don't know if Bitcoin like inspired the change. I think that and meeting my wife also like kind of inspired it, but like just starting to look at the life like more longer term and um you know looking at the long game of each activity that I was doing and realizing that I needed to stop doing some of them.
Are you talking
Um
about when you say like short time preference stuff? You just like talking about partying and like just going hard, or
no, like who I was hanging around with. Like I was like selling some drugs at one point. Nothing like crazy, but like just not good activities to be doing. Places I was going, not good as well.
putting
So,
yourself in situations that could have ended up in like
oh, for
tragedy,
sure.
jail, stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like okay, so you make some money, right? But then like if you get caught even like one or two times in the next like how long are you going to do it? 5 years, 10 years? Like if you start looking at the chances of being caught like over 10 years, it's pretty high. The chances
Right.
of getting caught one time is low, but it does happen. And it's not just with drugs, like it could be with anything. Like if you're gonna go to a house party in the hood, like you could get shot. You never know. It could
Right. Right.
maybe nobody has beef with you, but it could just be like somebody pulls out a gun because they get in a fight, and then now, you're in a situation
Yeah.
just
Look at what.
making better decisions long term.
Yeah. Look what just happened to Takeoff from Migos. There was beef at a bowling alley or a
Exactly,
club or
bro.
something, and
Exactly.
he caught a stray.
Exactly. And yeah, like it,
Wait, what is this thing?
Uh,
starting
Migos is one of the biggest groups, hip hop groups,
Okay.
one of
in
them
the
just
past,
died.
5 years. Yeah, one of them. There was just like they were in public. I think they were rolling dice and like somebody disrespected somebody, and it started like a big, everybody's pushing, fighting, and somebody pulled out a
Hmm.
gun and started shooting, and they weren't shooting at Takeoff. I think they were,
Yeah, it
uh,
was a stray.
yeah, he just got hit in the chaos. I think it was like somebody pissed, like beefing with his boy, Quavo. I think Quavo got him. At least I've heard that Quavo feels like shit, kind of feels responsible. So I don't know all the details, but
Yeah.
yeah. But it's like just a famous dude having a good time and hanging with the wrong people, and boom, gun goes off, you're dead.
And
Uh,
there is some excitement in that. Like it's
Oh
people
yeah,
do it, I feel like, because it's fucking exciting, bro. Like if you go do some crazy shit like that's not legal and nothing bad happens to you, like and everything goes fun, like
yeah.
oh my gosh, that shit is exciting.
There's no mountains to climb in Grand Rapids,
so
man. There's fucking got to find adrenaline in a different way.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I remember watching one of your earlier videos um, and seeing this sort of like fanning out currency. Interesting. And you also
Yeah,
had
that would be the
I think I,
2017 song.
I think I remember it was a 2017 song.
Uh, no, actually, that one was wrote in 2019. I think if you're
Oh, okay.
talking about the song name is 42319.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Keep
What
going.
it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
But I sort of look at that and I can't contrast it with the Bitcoin song visually anyway, and how the beat goes, what the sort of energy, there's a difference of energy between the two songs, right?
Hell
Would you
yeah.
agree?
Oh, 100%.
So I'm just interested in sort of how that transition transpired, or like what that looked like personally in your personal life.
Wait,
Bro,
what are?
it's been a long grind, bro. And it's still in progress, to be honest with you. And yeah, bro, it yeah,
What?
it's a good thing, I think, and it makes it tough to like it's not impossible for me to write like I previously wrote, but it doesn't feel as real as it did then. You know what I'm saying? Like if I write about a fucking bunch of money and guns and shit, that does not feel legitimate or true like to my life anymore, you know?
Mm.
So like what feels true to my life now is writing about other stuff. Um and so that's like why you're getting a lot more Bitcoin songs now. You're getting like I don't want to say like anti-government, but you're getting like big freedom vibes. Like that's kind of what I want to, and good decisions too. And it's not like my old music was all bad decisions, because there is definitely like a bunch of great advice in that music, but
You learn a
uh
lot. You learn a lot through those life experiences. Like even if they're not great life experiences, even if they're not great for your mental situation, if they're not great for your any of that, right? Like it's like that is the your struggle. It's a struggle. Like that's why so many artists, in my opinion, they start like you said, like it feels totally different from what you did when you started, right? So like they get famous off of writing about these things, then their lives completely change. And then that struggle that made them inspire them to make that art is no longer there. And some of them find a way to continue that mental and life struggle and they can still make good music. But some people just, life gets too good and their music starts to sometimes it evolves for the better, sometimes they just fall off.
yeah, I mean, I'm not like famous yet, so I don't think either way is gonna like affect my popularity, but I think it'll add to my diversity. I know what you're saying though.
Yeah, you
Russ
didn't
talks about that too. He
yeah,
talks about like intentionally putting himself in shitty situations so that he can get better music out of like heartbreak or out of like, some dumb shit.
right. I mean, your music didn't change because you got like super famous, but you did find apparently something that like really focused you in your life. Bitcoin kind of gave you like I feel like it gave me, just learning about it what it made me understand more broadly about life. It kind of helped me find a path of like, all right, I can, I found the signal and I can follow this path. And I may stray,
Well said.
I may do shit that is not what I know I should
So,
be doing, but I always know where the path is and I can always get back to it. So you found you had some similar revelation, it sounds like, with Bitcoin,
Yeah,
right? So it
100%.
yeah, so it changed your mental models.
can I say this, that since I got into Bitcoin, the raps I used to be a rapper before Bitcoin, and the raps that I rapped about, I didn't live any of that life, but I tried rapping about, guns and money and shit. I didn't live any of that life. And when I got into Bitcoin and now my raps come out, they're much more honest. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and it feel I people feel that authenticity too. And even if they, maybe not always, but like I don't know. I think it's makes for better music if it's more authentic.
Right. Like if Russ was rapping about gang life and stuff, like he's comes from a pretty good background. He's got a lot of money. Like he's got really intelligent parents. Uh, so he doesn't try to rap about that stuff. He raps about
There's no need to either.
right, right. He raps about living a good life, like tons of chicks. Like that's what he's got.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's tough, dude, because like you want to make music that is like fun and fun music, but you also want to like encourage good decision making too.
Mhm.
Because people will listen to you can this is part of the issue with a lot of people as well. Like they idolize like the wrong people. Like if you try to idolize not even what a rapper's really like if you take I don't know. If you take like freaking Lil Wayne, for example, like you might not idolize like what he's really like, but you might idolize what he's saying in the songs.
Sure.
And so like then you might be more inclined to make decisions like that. And then you're more inclined to go to prison or die
Right.
or get some, just somebody that you don't love pregnant,
Yeah,
like
right.
that type of shit. And
Or overdose
I
on
don't know.
something.
Yeah, and some of that shit's evil. Like
And I think,
songs that talk
yeah,
about Future's not really fucking getting high. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
it's not on the perks.
he doesn't wake up and take 5 pills, that's I hope not anyway. I think that in order to be successful like that, you got to be focused.
And I think there's some element of, how like people watch a movie and they root for the villain. It's like, even though the villain's like the main character and they make him really interesting and really exciting, but you're missing the point, right? Like the guy from American Psycho, Patrick Bateman's not the good guy. If like you got to like him ironically. And people do the same thing with music. Like if you listen to Future or all these guys, the message is, it seems like it's glorifying drugs in life, and it is to an extent.
100% it is.
But it's also they're talking like most of the time when they're talking about, or sometimes they're talking about like a low point in their life, or like, life's fucked. I got to get out of the projects, or I got to do this. I'm selling. They don't. People don't necessarily listen to it and realize like, no, he's talking about his struggle and overcoming that. Like what you think he's, maybe glorifying here. If you put it in context, he's trying to escape that. Like Future quit taking perks. People get off the scissor, or they try the lean.
They try, yeah.
But
yeah, that's a fair point. That's definitely.
I'm not saying that they don't glorify it, because they definitely do. But if you if you try to piece it together and read outside the lines a little bit, usually you can tell that it's it's a dramatic story to tell you what they're escaping from.
Yeah. And there's people do that better than others. Like Kendrick, I don't think he's like necessarily endorsing any of the shit that he's talking about. I think there's always a deeper message there. And the music that I have listened to him, because I haven't listened to all of it, but like, has been like that for sure.
But it's cool that you're rapping about more positive things, more, broad topics, because that's the other thing that the music game has changed a lot in the past decade, is that you don't have to rap about gang shit anymore. Like you can rap, that like J. Cole, right? Like college rap, like you got popular with like college kids. So he was kind of at a higher level.
Yeah. And it's not to say that I won't ever make a song about money and women and, doing drugs again, but it's just like, I don't need to, it doesn't have to be all my music. And it, it's really just it's more party vibe now. It's not like,
for sure,
it's not like I'm trying to get into anything with anybody, or there's no need to be a certain way.
How has the bear market, the down price, all the fraud, like how has that affected just your mood? Because like, as a Bitcoiner, right? Like we're all kind of in a bear market together, in a crypto depression, crypto. But how has that affected you, and more, your music even?
I would say 2017, it affected me like the bear market of 2018 and 19 affected me way more than this one. But that was like a big period of growth, like 2017, 2018, 2019. Like
for you
2017
personally?
to 2020 is like a new person type shit.
Nice.
So this one is, I'm still growing. I'm in a different phase of life, but it's the much easier to handle. I think a part of it too is like I was actively trading in 2018 and 19, and like now I'm not really actively trading, and just easier. Like from a price, I'm way more like understand Bitcoin at a foundational level too, and so like with more education, like the belief becomes stronger, and I go to meetups. I go to a meetup regularly in Grand Rapids. Like I go to meetups all over the place. Like I've met other people and talked to other people about it. Like, I don't know. My belief in Bitcoin is really strong. I'm like a all in Bitcoin type guy, So the price going down isn't really going to shake me personally.
Yeah.
For mood and stuff, I mean, you're definitely more fucking hype when it's the bull, dude, because everybody's fucking talking about it, and you're like,
you feel like a genius.
This keeps going, you're gonna fucking have so much money, and like,
you're like you're like taking your stack, and you're like, all right, if it goes up to 250,000, oh, I got that much money.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about like, oh, I'm thinking about getting 100 acres, bro. I'm thinking about, like everybody's talking like that. And it's funny, but it's just another cycle, man. Like the price, I'm not planning on like selling any Bitcoin really like till way later.
Right.
I'm in
so it doesn't matter.
working right now. Any money I make, like I can spend if I want to, really.
How have those decisions affected how have they affected your personal life going that far into Bitcoin?
Oh, probably not for the positive, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody gets it really. And just like when you're married too, it can be tough. Like if they're not, I mean, my wife is fully on board and she believes like super strongly because I believe strongly, but um it
It's
still is
different,
tough. Yeah, like because you have X amount of like to a woman, it's like security, right? So you have
right?
X amount of like security
That's
at
stress.
60,000 and now it's 15,000. It's like, damn, we were thinking maybe we'd go travel here, do this, and now it's like we're thinking we're gonna go to fucking work. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But
At
it's
least
great
going.
times to stack, and I can't stress that enough. Like you got a dollar cost average through the bear market, and if you're not doing it now, you should start now. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, at least for you, like going to work can mean going to Mexico, going to Guadalajara or something.
Oh,
Kinda.
yeah. I wish I made like more money off music. I mean, maybe we'll get to that point, but it's really like it's more of a thing where I just get free shit from. It's not like I get paid really,
It's an investment.
but yeah, and it's great. Like, dude, I want to go to these conferences anyway. Like, they had me. I did a song in Miami. I did a song in Nashville. Uh,
You
Nice.
performed?
I did this. I did a set at Pacific Bitcoin for 20
Did,
minutes, which went great. I did a set it was a Liberty Festival, Students for Liberty Festival in Nashville.
Nice.
I did a 15-minute set. Like that shit's, I would have never been able to, I couldn't imagine of doing shit like that, you know? I'm not really
That's how it
getting paid, but
starts.
free
yo,
tickets and
at the next Pacific Bitcoin, you, me, and Tip have to perform fuck that currency.
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready for it. Yeah,
That'd be hilarious. No,
I'm
we're
ready for it. Yeah,
What is
that was my favorite conference of the year, and I
it,
went to a few of them.
that's
Honestly, that
that's what a
was a
lot of
highlight of
people
my
that's
life.
what a lot of people are saying, man. Pacific Bitcoin fucking nailed it. Terrible environment and times to have a big inaugural fest or conference, and it just went off without a
It
hitch.
went off, boom, and it was their first one. You could kind of,
Yeah.
you could, I could tell anyway that it was their first one, but uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was freaking. Once you got there, like it was it was my favorite conference this year, and I went to
Yeah, dude.
Riga for the Honey Badger
you
conference
Oh,
played
too.
basketball there, right?
I did. That's part of why it was my favorite is because the professor was there, dude, and I got to play. I got to play. They found me an open spot on the Swan 3-on-3 basketball team, and so I got to play in the 3-on-3 tournament. And then, I got to play the professor, and I beat him the first game. So we got to play again, and I beat him on the second game. So like everybody was, it was that was fucking
wait,
crazy.
wait.
And
So
then me
you're
and
good.
Corey,
You beat the professor twice?
I did beat I did beat the professor twice. Dude, and then me and Corey, the CEO of Swan played we did a 3-on-3 point contest and he beat
He
me, dude,
won.
but
He
he
won.
won by it was tied until the last bucket. Dude, and he backed up and smacked it. Yeah, he won.
Does
So,
that
Hell
mean
but it
yeah,
that
was
dude.
super
Corey
fun. Like,
beats the professor
I don't
by
know
that
about
sort of
that.
lineage?
Maybe at shooting. Maybe at shooting.
Wild.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great time. That was a super fun. The integration of basketball and just everything that they were doing there, how accessible everybody was.
So
Michael Saylor was just walking around.
you're an athlete for sure. You play a lot.
I do, yeah, I like to do a lot of shit. Like I like to water ski and snowboard and fucking play a lot of basketball. I play a lot of shit. Pickleball, spike ball.
Nice. What you mentioned Honey Badger and Riga. I'm planning to go to that this year. I was wondering
Okay.
how that what's your take on
It
that?
was
Sounds
it
pretty
was
good.
fun. That was my first time in Europe, so it was really interesting from that perspective.
Hell
It
yeah.
was a good conference. It wasn't anything close to like honestly like the conferences here were better. Um,
More
but
fun.
well, I can't say that, bro, because
Okay.
there was a good nightlife scene that we had.
Miami was
Yeah,
fun at night.
Miami's fun at night. Yeah, Riga was a good conference, especially
Nice.
but if I didn't know anybody and I went to
Hmm.
the Riga conference,
Sure.
like that'd be way different because I met a bunch of people that knew me already on Twitter and that I'd met at other conferences. And that's what really made like Riga was the community of people there. Um
Okay, on
But
that thought, yeah, like a lot of people, at least I see it on Twitter, especially, right? It almost seems like they're kind of bitter that they can't afford or they just don't want to go spend a lot of money on a ticket to go to like one of these bigger conferences, and they feel it's like a waste. But when you go there and you meet these people, you make friends, like people you see on Twitter, like some of the quote unquote celebrities, like the podcasters, like they're very
yeah,
accessible, and
hell
you
yeah.
like meet all these great people. Dude, going to the conferences, fuck all the speakers and all that stuff. Like just meeting people and like hanging out, like it is worth every penny.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that message. Um,
I
if
got my
you
job at
spend a lot of
Swan
time on,
by going to, you know,
yeah,
so,
bro, if
yeah.
you spend a lot of time on Twitter or you want to work in the space or you just want to like make more Bitcoin friends, like going to a conference with the right attitude will put you in great places.
100%.
Everybody has been accessible, I will say. Miami is like the place where they're the least accessible,
Sure.
but every BitBlock Boom, Pacific Bitcoin, Riga,
Mm-hmm.
like they've all been.
Yeah,
BitBlock Boom is crazy because the hotel is where the conference is, so
yeah,
everybody's staying at that hotel for the
yeah.
most part, you know.
And the elevators are really, really slow, and you're just sitting there waiting for the elevator for like 25
It's like
minutes.
every year that happens. It's crazy.
Are they less accessible because of the scale of
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. It's
conference?
it's just a huge, giant
Yeah, like
conference.
even
Celebrities
if you even if
status.
you have like a
It's basically
speaker,
Sundance of Bitcoin, I guess.
I think it's bigger, or it feels bigger. You know.
Really? Okay. Okay.
yeah, there's like, the general public and the VIP is separated, and then like this there's like lower tier speakers that are in there, but then there's like upper tier speakers, and you just don't even like see them. They're in a whole different,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
they'd get mobbed. Like I mean, dude, if you got
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If Dave Portnoy's there, like it's a big event. You know,
yeah.
Barstool.
That's true.
Yeah, you
I'm
got to
not
make
gonna
They're all
mob
unique in their
Dave
own way.
Portnoy.
All those conferences are unique in their own way.
you got to make it to in November every year. They do the one in El Salvador adopting. Dude, that one's
Oof,
great.
that's on the list. That's
It's
on the
great.
list.
You got to make, and it's cheap. The tickets are cheap. You got to go to that one for sure.
Okay.
It's great to get out of Michigan. November is cloudy. It's getting cold. You go down, it's like 80 degrees. Go to San Salvador. You need to hop a bus the last day. You go down to Bitcoin Beach, stay there for like on the cheap, take surfing lessons, just drink a beer on the beach. It's awesome. It's a great time.
Yeah.
I
How
just
was the
realized
surfing there? Did you surf?
Yeah, oh, I tried. It's surfing is much harder than I gave it credit for. It's really just the picking up the actual skill or the whatever the movements that you have to do is not that bad. It's not easy, but it's just being in the ocean, like just getting hit by the waves and just not being used to uh, dealing with that. The energy just blasting you that you can't fight against it. You got to learn how to like go with the flow.
And if you touch the bottom, it's like a sea urchin down there or something like
It's not too bad in El
freaking.
Salvador, but like some places
Okay.
you can like
Maybe
have the
that's why
corals and it can
Or
be
a
that's
awful.
why
shark.
Yeah,
that's why surfers are so loose, in their
right.
speech and demeanor, right? A lot of crashing of the waves on them.
There's no sense in being stressed, man. You just got to go with the flow.
Yo, that's an interesting like sort of thread right there. Of like these
Totally
waves
true.
crashing and you're just breaking your spirit down until you're like this Zen creature. You know what I mean?
No, until you learn to go with it, you become
Yeah,
fluid.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're
Go
but
with it.
you're this isn't like how it really works, but I had a surfer tell me, he's like, bro, your body's 70-80% water. That means only 20% of you has to swim. And it's like, yeah, bro, that's I I don't literally not true, but there's some truth to that.
Well, there is. I mean, it's true. I mean, there is a
Yeah.
kind of truth to it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
truth there.
Yeah, there's truth there. There's a lot of things like what you literally say and what it really means. Just like rap. It's not the same, it's not.
There's some deep shit out there.
Yeah. Metaphors, man. Metaphors. So
Yeah.
no,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, I was
I
gonna
was gonna.
say
I was gonna say.
before we get too off topic, going back to being married, what what advice do you give to like the new plebs who kind of came in this last cycle, who've got wives who are, like you said,
Oh,
they're
good question.
they're committed. Some of them aren't, but some of them are, but only because their spouse is committed. Like they don't really understand it. they see that price crash and they're stressing. What's your advice to dealing with that and to get through these down times?
I would say, I don't know, maybe bring them to a local meetup if you could. Also
Hmm.
just if they're interested at all, like really go, do your best with that you can with education. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's not much, there's not much else. You got to hold on, like come up with a plan, talk about it with them, come up with a plan, and then like, just check back in on the plan every now and then.
Communication. That's always the right
Communication.
answer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
A year and a half. So I don't have a
Oh,
ton of
nice.
advice
How long have you
for that
known each
type of
other?
shit. Oh, we met in 2018.
Okay.
Like in January, I think, of 2018.
Five
So a few
5 years
years
is
now,
yeah.
5 years.
Okay. So you guys have been through the ups and downs already. Like you've hit some of those
Yeah,
turbulence. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
of course. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not honeymoon phase anymore,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
How long have you been married, Mike?
It's quite a personal question there, Dan. No, how long has it been? I think, see, I always have a problem with this because our marriage certificate says the wrong year on it.
Mm.
So I think it was 2019. I want to say
Okay.
2019.
So you're going on
Put some
3 years
years
now.
in. Are you married,
Uh,
Dan?
I'm not. No, no, I'm
Okay.
not. I've started to want to move in that direction, but I'd been absolutely very little interest in it for years. I don't know if it's I haven't met the right person or just I'm too selfish, but it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay though.
Yeah, yeah.
why
It's
did, what do you think the decision was to get married?
Mine?
Yeah.
Uh,
just new.
I mean, yeah,
Without, you don't have to get
I
too
don't know.
personal, or you don't even have to answer the question if you don't want to answer the question. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like you do know, and you know, you come yeah, you come to terms with the fact that like I don't know, I feel like you're not always gonna be ready. There's some stuff you're just never gonna be ready for. Like you're never
Totally.
gonna be like 100% ready to get married, I don't think, especially as a man.
Right.
And you're never gonna be like 100% ready to have a fucking kid, you know? But like there's some things you gotta dive all in, like head like sometimes if you know, or like if you at least are like really sure that you know, and like I said, sometimes it might feel like you're not ready, but like if you dive in head first, then it's like it's nice, you
No,
know?
you're never ready for that promotion. You can always find a million or that
Yeah, there's a
relationship,
thousand
whatever.
fucking reasons to not do something. Some things you got
Yeah,
to just dive in 100% into, you
things are
know?
just not going to happen for you. Like you have, I mean, sometimes they do, but generally speaking, you got to make things happen. You got to make things work. And
Yeah,
once you kind of come to that conclusion, that's like, I'm making a decision every day and it's going to work or it's not going to work based on my decision, but I control it, right? That you just got to do
yeah.
it.
I'll say that like before we were married too, like we went through, some shit that like really strengthened our trust and just our communication skills like over time, not just like any one thing, but like just being together for a couple years before you get married is nice, to really work things out, figure out like, roles of the relationship, that type of stuff.
So did you get engaged before COVID and then get married during COVID? Or was it like all during like,
Oh,
post?
dude. I think I was married during COVID, but I don't remember
Sure.
exactly the COVID shit when we got engaged, like what that was looking like.
I just feel like that experience kind of affected a lot of people's relationships as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I didn't know
Didn't
like, I
didn't
didn't know
really
if you,
affect mine. I mean,
okay.
I treated COVID like it wasn't real. And
Smart.
you know, it
Michigan
is
was kind of
real,
rough
but
though.
like I mean it's real, but like,
No, I get what you're saying.
bro,
I mean, rough,
yeah,
like
that
Michigan
shit
was
to
rough in
me
terms of like the
ain't
government.
real.
Yeah, right.
Oh, those, yeah, bro, like people in, but the thing is though, is I'm like, I took like a personality test, right? And I'm not like very polite. And some things, yeah, they're like, if it doesn't fucking make sense to me, bro, I have a hard time listening to authority. And especially when the authority is like some lady at the store. So they had a mask. I wasn't really wearing a mask, bro.
You
That
got
just
that
wasn't
big,
my style.
you got that Bitcoin gene. Like, give me the fuck you money. Give me the
Yeah,
non-government money.
it's really big on freedom, man. Like if you start looking at Bitcoin for like what it can do for the world and how much freedom it can bring to like the entire world, not just yourself, but just it's gonna fix a lot of shit, dude. And it's gonna make some shit worse, and there's gonna be some people who have it worse after Bitcoin, but the majority of people are gonna have it much better on a Bitcoin standard.
The
When you
people
start
who
learning about Bitcoin, going down that fucking rabbit hole, dude, and learning all the looking into like the freedom tech that comes to this, however much over half the world that's under a dictatorship or authoritarian
right,
government.
the people who it's not Bitcoin's their life's going to be worse after deserve it. It's dictators, cantillionaires, people who are just,
There
generally
will be
speaking, they're
people
going to
like
lose a lot
that,
of influence and
but
power.
but then there's going to be also just like really dumb people that maybe had their life savings in dollars and
Right.
now it's in Bitcoin. And I don't know if they were savers to begin with, though, they'll be able to stack up Bitcoin quick. Like
Yeah,
it is what it is. Someone probably told them, you are kind of right. You do get in at like the price you deserve. Somebody said that
exactly. Yeah, right.
one
It's a
time.
comment. Yeah, exactly. I live right down the street from Warren Buffett. If he gets into it, he's going to pay big money for it, but we'll see. I don't think he's going to
Yeah,
make it
nah,
to hyper
he'll die first.
Bitcoinization. Yeah.
What, without sounding like such a stupid question, why is freedom so important to you?
I've just always been a person that it's tough to like tell me what to do. And
You got to go your
I
own
don't
way,
know.
like a pioneer, like
Yeah,
a
or
trailblazer.
it's better now than it used to be, but I used to be like I'm no, it's not better now, honestly. I'm very anti like authority and especially government. And when you start learning about how much the government fucks you, like it's terrible. And so that makes me like hate, or not, I won't say hate, but dislike almost everybody in government.
Are
Don't
you
like anybody.
are you like
You leave me
politic?
the fuck alone. Sorry.
Are you like political? Are you like anarchist, libertarian, or you just kind of don't tell me
Nah.
what to do? I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, just I'm big, like if it makes sense from a freedom perspective,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm all for it. So it falls all over the place. I'm pretty, I'm very in favor of like gay marriage, for example, where some like Republicans aren't. But on one hand, like, yeah, I no, bro, I'm not anything because there's just
That's fair.
yeah,
Yeah,
those parties are crazy. They all print money. They
absolutely.
all are slimy,
They're,
greasy
they both
politicians,
print
bro.
money. They're crazy. You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Also,
they printed more under Trump than ever before. He's a Republican.
Yeah, it's gonna continue. It's gonna have to grow exponentially, like to support itself. It's like a big snowball.
Oh, totally.
Uh, I have yeah. Do you guys fuck with conspiracy theories?
I fuck with
of
everything.
course,
I
man.
don't
Do
necessarily
you
believe them all, but I fuck with them all.
do you think like uh, you know, media, and when I say media, I also mean like movies and music, um, and yeah, like all the algorithms. Like, do you think it's all like negative for the most part? Like the
Yeah,
music is bad, like it's on purpose, I feel like
I think
negatively influencing people on
I don't
purpose.
think you can ascribe a negativity or a positivity to it. I think it's just what is happening. It feels like
it's a reflection. It's a
it's a
reflection of society, and
reflection.
so if it is negative, like
Arcade Fire.
it's because our society is ill. So yeah, so here's where I kind of
Our society is ill.
yeah, like not in like a good way. Our society's
Yeah, I know.
sick, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sickness and illness.
I
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's true. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. It's our culture, our movies, our music. It's like politicians, right? Like it is like so this is I'll explain it
what
more.
causes
That
it?
yeah. So when you say conspiracy, uh, the way I usually think of that word meaning like they're kind of the government, the Hollywood, music producers, like they're conspiring together to do this on purpose. And like some people look at a conspiracy that way. I think it's happening. I don't believe it's a conspiracy in that way. I think everybody responds to incentives, and the music that sells, the movies that sell, no matter how disgusting they are, no matter how like, outrage goes viral, outrage gets clicks. So all of this just negativity is just these creators, these producers are responding to incentives. They're responding to the incentive to make money, and that type of art, culture, or whatever is what makes money. And we get on Twitter every day and we look at our timeline and we're like, the world is fucking going to hell. But what are we doing? Like, we're the ones clicking and interacting with all that negativity. Like, whether we agree that it's a good thing, we don't generally, we're still interacting with it. So they're putting it out there, just going to keep putting it out there.
Yeah.
Well, it's also how do you survive going forward? You have to have more information. We talk about that kind of thing a lot. Right. The more information you have dictates and the more true your information is, I think dictates your survivability in the future, as opposed to.
Yeah, we have to be tuned in, and whether you're a part of that negativity and culture, right? Like if you're just a young person, I think that's why people get so passionate about censoring like music for kids and like young people. Like you said, like music affects your mood. So like you're just this young person coming in, you're in high school, you're not really a part of this giant megalith of culture yet, really. You're just kind of entering it, and then you just immediately get exposed to just all this terrible shit, and you're not old enough and smart enough to analyze it and say like, oh, this isn't good, like, this is bad. You're just like, no, this is what the celebrities do about saying like, this must be what is this is how I should act if I want to fit into this, and I want to fit in, I want to be popular, right? So it's
Mac Miller gets high.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. It's cool to do drugs.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think the connection is between drugs and Bitcoin is? Without, I don't know if we want to wrap up or not, but there's this question. There was this question I had burning here: the connection of drugs and Bitcoin.
I mean, I think it enables like, the ability to send money anywhere, and I don't know exactly how that's gonna like work with drugs on the back end, but you just solve the payment side. So if you can get the drugs exchanged, like
Silk Road,
I can make the payment, and I don't know how much of that stuff will be able to be tracked. I mean, and the tough part about Bitcoin is once some shit's on the chain, even if your privacy was good enough up until that point, right? Like, and you made the transaction and you did it in a private manner, in the future, if you fuck up with anything in the future that's related to that, like, or if in the future their chain analysis becomes better, right? Like you're gonna get caught. So I don't know how that's gonna work with governments and stuff like that, but I know that you can make the payment,
Right. Everything's gonna be reactive. They're very rarely gonna be able to shut you down in the transaction. And they know that. And the other thing is like it's so hard to not get some sort of a like association to your address. I mean, there's some people, man, they're mixing their coins, they're not reusing addresses, they're doing everything right.
Yeah.
Man, like if your VPN goes out for a few seconds, or you just don't turn it on, or you just access something from your cell phone at some point, or an internet browser, like boom, they can attach your IP to that transaction or to that activity, and boom, they can connect you somehow. Or your wife's just at work blabbing to the whole community that her husband's huge into Bitcoin, no matter how anonymous he is on Twitter and how many mixers and privacy he uses. Like it's so hard. So you can't.
And you got to stay perfect privacy forever with the change. Like you can't fuck up with the change either.
Right.
It's crazy.
And I don't.
You basically have to become Satoshi. So
I think that it's fine. Like I agree that privacy is a good thing and we should try to be more private, but it's just too stressful for me to like, I'm not, sometimes you got to take a risk. Sometimes it's worth it. You get the thrill. You bought some drugs with Bitcoin online, you get a little adrenaline rush, right? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Yeah. Maybe they find out I bought weed or Coke or something on Silk Road and I get fined or something, but I'm not going to prison for 20 years. And some people do, Ross, Silk Road founder. But Maybe I'm a little too
Do you
cavalier.
think Satoshi is alive or dead?
Dead.
I think the question is, I have a question for you. Do you think Jesus is alive or dead?
Oof. I see you.
So to expand on your question, Satoshi, there's no reason for me to believe anyway that it's just one person, right? Like it was a collaborative effort, whether or not the guy that wrote the actual code and posted it on the forums, right? The guy that was posted on the forums, whether or not that's one person or not, it was years of effort by other people, ideas, people on these those cypherpunk mailing lists. Like that Satoshi is that collective group think or whatever, this collaborative effort. And Satoshi now, the person, I think, is probably dead, because either that or they destroyed all their private keys, because I don't know of any human in history who would be one of the richest people in the world and never touch it. Like that would have to be a superhuman person. So either he destroyed his private keys or he's dead. But in that sense, yeah, I think he's dead. In a different sense, his way of thinking, who he is as a, what he represents, kind of like Jesus, right? Like he's in all of us in a way. Like we think privately, we want to build this network and to contribute to the community and everything, right? Like it's partly inspired by what Satoshi did.
So
it's in our minds.
Jesus sacrifices his body for the people, and Satoshi sacrifices his identity,
his time.
Interesting.
He destroyed the private keys, or he's not accessing him. He destroyed
his time.
All this time.
Okay.
His future.
I suppose he sacrificed a few things.
He sacrificed his life, maybe symbolically.
His life, for sure.
He sacrificed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy
dude.
Stuff.
It is. Do you have any conspiracies about Bitcoin or Satoshi? Like you think he was NSA, CIA?
No. I think it was one guy. I think he was part of a group of maybe like 30 other people that were also like maybe the same caliber as him. Maybe not quite the same caliber as him. But and he had probably maybe three or maybe two or one of those other guys that he was close with, and that maybe he trusted or maybe not, but maybe he interacted with them anonymously. He knew them all, knew how to get a hold of them. Definitely used the knowledge from them, but I think the Satoshi is, when you refer to Satoshi, just one person. But I think he's dead.
Do you think it was Hal?
100%.
Or do you think it was somebody else who's nobody knows about?
No, I think people know about him. But no, not Hal.
I mean, how do you bifurcate your human side to your virtual side so pristinely that you still can't be identified?
That's just like religion, man. Like Jesus was perfect, right? Like he never sinned, he never fucked up, he never lost his privacy. He immaculate conception, everything about this the Satoshi story is more or less had to, at least in our minds, have been perfect. He had to never ever fuck. He bought the domain bitcoin.org with cash just so he would never be tied to it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And just the fact that, like, most people, if you're narrowing it down to, it's just a couple guys, and so a couple of those dudes are not alive anymore, like Hal Finney being the like known as a fact second person, I believe, right?
Satoshi sent the first transaction to Hal.
Yeah, right. So it's him, and he's dead, and he was known, and he's dead. Right. So like you're now trying to get to the third person, and the story just can't be 100%. It can get close. I think there's good leads on a few people, or a group of people too. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever know for certain. That's wild. Immaculate conception, like you said.
And every single day that passes, that we get further away from all that transpired when it was originally started, right, is the less
likely
it is we'll ever actually get definitive proof of anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be the next money for for the entire world.
I think that's true.
That's pretty high spirited. I like that.
That's it is high spirited. It's inevitable though. Like it
I'm
really
fucking
is
high
like,
spirited.
yeah, I am. I am high spirited. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh shit.
Dude,
Shall
this
we?
is my first podcast.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. So yeah, tell.
Oh really?
really
This is your
enjoyed
first
it.
podcast?
Yeah, I really
Oh,
enjoyed it.
thank you. Thank you for coming on, dude.
Hell yeah.
That was so cool. Yeah, tell us. Yeah, go Dan.
Where can people find you? Where can people find your discography, all that stuff?
I'm Captain Youth. So if you search Spotify for Captain Youth, I should come up. L Captain Youth on Twitter, EL and then Captain Youth. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
And if do you have like an email address or anything that you'd want to share for people who might be in the industry who want to collaborate with you and reach out to you in a different way, or just they find you on Twitter?
My DMs are open on Twitter.
There you go.
I'm captain.youth on Instagram. My DMs are open on Instagram. Like just follow me and you should be able to DM me.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to stop recording. Here we go. Thanks again for listening to the High Hash Rate podcast. You can find us on Twitter at High Hash Rate, or you can hit up Dan at Heartland Bitcoin, HRTLND Bitcoin, or myself, Mike, at Run Dance Bitcoin. That's all one word, Run Dance Bitcoin. If you're a fellow pleb or you just want to shoot the shit with two high Bitcoiners, reach out to us.